Alright, about to do something crazy and crawl into a huge male brown bear den. Hopefully there's nothing in it. Eek. There it is. Right there. It's all the dirty pushed out. Let's trail out. See what happens here. Yeah, here's the entrance. That's a big hole. Hopefully nothing comes out. Oh, that's it. It doesn't really go back in there, does it? Shit. There I am. This is it. I'm in a grizzly den. Brown bear den. It is kind of cozy though, eh? Especially without a bear in it. Cool.
Not as deep as you'd think.
No. No, that one's not.
Yeah.
Not very deep at all. Looks like you laid up here, right? A couple times?
Laid up there and then went over here.
Oh,
laid there.
You tore that willow apart or whatever.
Oh yeah, he was munching on that, trying to get some of that moose meat out of between his teeth.
Huh? Now I wait to see what the hell we're doing. Slide right up. It's not the one we called up, is it? That'd take a while. And this is how you come down.
More to be heard.
No rants today. It's more to be heard. Is that another pile of shit dumped on my plate that was unexpected and going to be a major pain in the ass, and it's made me really grumpy. So before I tackle it, I decided I'd take a breather and go in and sit down and have a timeout and share some emails. Man, hand pounded, hand dug out, I think, a dozen fence post holes this morning, got good and sweated up, and then we had a major hiccup with something else on the property. So I'm going to get some emails shared, take a breather, and then go tackle my next pain in the butt. Now, I might get skidded off social media platforms today. I couldn't help myself. Somebody showed me a blatant example of some very nasty people trying to, well, they basically said word for word, indoctrinate the children. So I took a picture of that Nazi bastard Schwab dude and I put it on social media, and then I put the only words we need to hear from this, and I put a point down to him, was, please don't kill me. I don't know, I put the only words that society needs to hear from this is, please don't kill me. Yeah, and I posted it up. It is what it is, but I'm probably going to get skidded. Whatever, I don't give a shit. Now, Skeptics Encounter. Hi there, I must admit I found your channel hoping to explain away what I saw and rule out what I thought it was. I've always been a skeptic, and I thought that if these beings were real, there would be some tangible evidence to prove it. Oh, there's a shitload of tangible evidence. In the same way that people use Google and Mayo Clinic to try and prove that their assumptions are not cancer. Sorry. These glasses got shit on them. Damn it. Hold on a minute. To put on these disposables are better. I was hoping to listen to other stories and say, nope, that's not what I saw. I like my name excluded, given that I have a reputation and following. I'm not concerned with what individuals think of me, but I do publicly represent a large corporation in the outdoor industry, and I'm concerned with people taking my story as a position of the company, which could cost me my position. Anyway, some background on myself is that I am a fly fishing guide and began my guiding career in the backcountry fishing for native southern Appalachian brook trout. They are beautiful fish that have been wiped out of 80% of their native range and need protections in place immediately. And as no special regulations are in place to distinguish wild versus stock trout in my home state of Georgia. I always carry a small sidearm with me when I'm in the backcountry, not for black bears or snakes, but for the people who live in the woods. Just as you'd see tons of homeless people living in the streets in a large city, the homeless people in the southern Appalachians will just simply leave town and go live in the woods. I'm not afraid of black bears. I've seen tons of them. And they have always either bolted away or stayed out and gone about their business until I was gone. The people are a different story. I've had encounters with humans way out in the backcountry that have made me more wary than anything else I'd ever seen in the woods, until one day in particular. As I was scouting a new stream one afternoon by myself, I was hiking an approach trail to the well-known Appalachian Trail that would then connect me to the stream I had scouted on a topographical map and wanted to go and explore, as it met all the geographical requirements for brook trout. While hiking into remote areas, especially alone, I always made plenty of noise by dragging my feet, shaking my pack every once in a while, and sometimes singing, if the southern humidity doesn't have me sucking wind. This particular afternoon, I was approaching a ridge head on that the trail led to the bottom of, and then veered off to the right and out of sight as it gained elevation. The slope leading up the ridge had low vegetation such as mountain laurel, and toward the top of the ridge it began to clear out, and I could see the sky behind it. Behind one of the laurels, close to the top, I could see what I thought was either a hole or a dark, almost black rock in the side of the slope. As I got to within 200 yards, I noticed that a dark spot had moved behind another laurel. That's odd, I thought. I could have sworn it was over there the last time I looked, but I assumed that I was mistaken, which was also odd, given how observant I am anytime I'm in the woods. I constantly check my surroundings and take in every detail, even the smells, a lesson my dad taught me when I was very young. I stopped and looked for a second and realized that the dark spot was slightly bobbing up and down,
"Hey, bear," I shouted, hoping that it was a black bear and not a person. Lord knows I didn't want an altercation out there by myself, whether I was armed or not. It immediately got worse. I'm normally extremely cool-headed to the point where people think that I'm strange. When stressful or emergency situations happen, I've trained myself my entire life to not only remain calm and avoid panic, but to calm myself to a point more so than I would be in a normal everyday scenario. After shouting at whatever this was, I saw a short, round head and shoulders 3 times as wide as mine, as my own, pop up from behind the laurel. I was frozen, not in fear or panic, but just the sheer inability to make a move or think clearly enough to decide what to do next. I had no idea what I was looking at. It was definitely not a bear, because black bears have a snout and pointed ears and a long neck with narrow sloping shoulders. If it was human, it would have been able to take an NFL linebacker and 5 of his friends. As I kept standing there staring, whatever it was stood up. The laurel, which were about 4 feet tall on average in this particular area, barely came up to the bottom of its knees. It had disproportionately long torso and was built not like a bodybuilder, but more of how you describe a football player. It was gigantic, nearly twice my height. But even with its tower height, what I couldn't believe was how wide it was. Its shoulders wouldn't fit through a standard door. After it stood up straight, it backed away up the ridge, watching me the entire time, until it reached the top and went down the other side out of sight. I left immediately and have not been back to the same area since, not only because I didn't want it to harm me, but out of respect for it, clearly not wanting me there. I've always maintained that I didn't know what I saw, but I know for sure what I did not see. When people ask if I'm a believer, I tell them that I don't know. All I do know is that if they were real, that was definitely where they live. As it was so far off the beaten path, I would doubt that 2 humans per year travel into the same area. I don't guide backcountry trips anymore. Most of my guiding is done from a drift boat, and I do a few trips on small streams in the mountains at lower elevations. Like I said, I was hoping that I could find evidence to the contrary of what I saw, so that I could give myself peace of mind to go back up and enjoy the full immersion in nature that gives me such a renewal of my mental health. But I suppose I'll continue getting my fix from rowing a boat. Thanks for taking the time to read this. And if you're ever in the Southeast, let me know, and I'd love to take you fishing. Okay, man, I will. And there you go. You're now in the club of no return, no matter what. No matter what you think it was or wasn't, you're in. Right? Now you can relate to every single person that writes in, including myself. And there is a piss load of substantial evidence. It's just sadly, for some weird reason, your average human mind won't accept it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you present the average human. You can present them with over 114 different DNA samples, right, which has been done. You can provide them with a color film strip of one walking and looking at the camera. You can do that today. You actually could do that for what, 50 years or something now? You can present people with numerous photographs, other video clips, but most importantly, you can present people with tens of thousands of eyewitness accounts from good, honest people from around the globe, which is solid, tangible evidence. There you go. So, for your average human, to deny all that means there's something hiccuping between your ears. And that's not being insulting. You can't pick up what's being put down by now. Something's up between your ears. Sorry, I'm just the messenger. But sadly, it's true. All right, here we go. On to the next one. Thanks for that invite too, man. And you know what? Follow my lead if you want in the outdoors and go out there anyway. Just go with your gut instincts. Take baby steps into the woods. If it feels bad, turn around. If it doesn't, carry on. Say out loud, leave me alone. That's what I do. You can see by video proof what I do by myself. And I'm still here. So far. Okay, this is titled Arizona 4. The posting you wanted to find for you to share. For you or share, I'm good either way. When was this? It was a while ago, September. Steve, hello again. After coming back From our last camping trip, I watched your latest posting and you started off with my last email I sent you. A person, Claude Anderson, asked you to send his contact to us, Arizona 4. This posting was posted on August 22nd. If I heard you right when you started this post, you received it on June 19th, 2022. My birthday. The posting was titled, Ex-Military Man Sends a Warning. At 23:45 or so is where he asked you to send the Arizona 4's info. I can only imagine how your full schedule is, so I thought I would help since I recalled the posting started with ex-military. If you read this, let him know Chuck will contact him. If he is deemed a non-axe murderer or non-axe or reformed axe murderer, we, Chuck or Kevin, will probably open communications with him. With this task complete, I would normally give you a rundown of our last trip / interactions, or at least my interactions. I'm backing off on sharing my interactions for now, mainly because of how I believe my mind speak has seemingly diminished. I don't know why, so for now I want to back off and regroup. I used to say, in communication / data terminology, Kevin's mind speak was like at 3G. Chuck is somewhere a little over 2G. I myself is running at a dial-up speed, which is very frustrating, at least when sitting out with these guys. Now it seems like I've slipped down to Morse code level. Bummer. Anyway, I hope Kevin will be able to share his download he got on his last trip after he was able to process it. It's a strong warning of things to come, but this is his story to tell. It might actually be too much for many of your newer viewers to accept, especially those that don't think our forest friends actually communicate with us for our good. I guess I'll stop here on this specific subject. Keep on doing what you're doing, my friend. I sure wish you and Dave lived closer. If we ever were to meet, it would be a very, very interesting and humorous chat session. Add some alcohol and we might become best friends. LOL. Take care, Rob. You know, I'm really thinking about coming down there, man, this year. We'll see what happens. I wonder if I read that before. I don't know, but there you go, you guys. Keep sending us shit. All right, you guys? Keep sending us stuff in. And if your friend, your partner didn't send that one in, or he did, and I haven't got to it, send it again. Here's another one. A question, a story, and a thought from the communist state of New York. Being delivered to Canada, Stan. Hi, Steve. Greetings from the communist state of New York, where politicians are corrupt as they come and the criminals have all the rights. Worst gun laws in the country for law-abiding citizens. Been following your channel for over a year now, and gotta say it's helped a lot of people. To have somewhere to go and tell your story, it takes a huge weight off people, both mentally and physically. Keep up the good work. We'll start off with my question, which is directed to Owlman or any of the others who have contact with the Sabe people. What is happening in the parks and forests around the world with the missing people? I'm sure David P. would like to know this as much as anyone. If the Sabe are the forest people, they have lived in those areas for a long time and they must know what's going on. I'd really like anyone out there that has contact with the Sabe to ask. We should have a right to know, to try to prevent losing loved ones, family, and friends. If the Sabe refuse to answer this, I believe their intentions are not in our best interest. You know, I think we have had a couple answers, and across the board, it's from up that way. And that's what I've been told from some very credible sources. The missing people are going that way. It's another topic. Now for my story. November 2018, Columbia County, New York, opening deer season. My 14-year-old son Dylan and I are in our deer stand approximately 5 a.m., 1 hour before first light. The stand is about 50 yards from a valley with a small stream at the bottom. A lot of thick, tall pines keep this area very dark. We hear some leaves crunching from the valley. Something was walking along the stream. We're unable to see the stream due to the angle of our stand. All of a sudden we hear a loud crack. The type of crack when you bend and break a dead limb on the bottom of one of these big pine trees. It just echoes. We both looked at each other and said, "What the hell was that?" Then we heard whatever it was continue walking. 15 seconds later, crack again. Then again. This went on for 3 to 4 minutes. We heard a total of about 15 cracks. Something was walking, not running, along the stream and just breaking limbs as it walked. Eventually it walked beyond where we could hear it any longer. The only animal big enough to do this I'm aware of here is a bear. We have no moose here. But a bear doing this would probably be stranger than a Sasquatch, LOL. My son harvested a nice 8-pointer later that afternoon just before dark, so we never ventured down into the valley to look for anything. Both my boys hunt. Dylan 18 now, Sean 15, and I've told them I have told them all, though I have never seen a Sasquatch. They are real. And there are also other creatures in the woods, aside from bears, we need to watch out for. I've told them not to shoot these creatures unless they jeopardize our safety. Good for you, man. Good for you. Now for the thought. So many people say the woods go deathly silent when these sabe are near. I'm wondering if they are messing with our head in some way and we don't even know it. I cannot see all the animals, birds, and insects going silent. It has to be something they are doing directly to us. If they can mind speak, I'm pretty sure they can do other things in our head. Thanks again for all you are doing. Keep fighting the good fight. Hopefully one day we'll all have a complete puzzle, at least on this subject. Big A. Well, hopefully we will. I think the puzzle's tightening right up for a lot of us, without a doubt. I know my puzzle's tightening right up. But as long as people keep emailing in, then we're going to get the answers. And as soon as everybody realizes this is harmless to speak out loud, this is a safe place, kick the bullshit programming we've all gone through to the curb, and start speaking about true, honest knowledge that we need to know and share, right? It's working. Here's another one. Thanks for sending that in, man. Absolutely appreciate it. Squirrel hunting with a sabe sighting. Dear Steve, I've been debating on sharing my story for almost a year now. It sounds like I might have shared this. Or maybe two, I don't know. I don't know how much of my story is going to help others, but here it goes. I was squirrel hunting on public hunting property in northwest Indiana, about an hour from my house, run by the Indiana DNR. Run by or right by? Department of Natural Resources. It was towards the end of the season, about a month or so left of it, when it happened. It is my habit to start my hunting early in the morning. I arrive at the property close to first shooting light and hunt throughout the morning. I had never felt any pressure while hunting this area or since the incident, so I thought nothing of hunting this day. I hunted all morning with no luck. The woods were fairly quiet except the twittering of the occasional bird. I had been there since 6:30 a.m. It was after 11 when I decided to take a little break and have a snack from my pack. So I took the seat along the trail I was on. My mind was just idling. I think about a lot of nothing at all, contemplating the happenings of the day and what else I needed to do that day. A voice came into my thoughts that said, "Behind you." You preached to listen to your inner voice and trust it, and I did. I turned around to look behind me. As soon as I got turned around, I saw an enormous being about 9 feet tall and 1,000 pounds with long, flowing, reddish-brown hair all over his body that resembles the fur of an orangutan in color. I only saw him for 1 or 2 seconds because that is how long he took to stride across the trail opening, wide enough for tractors and equipment used to maintain these trails and property. I got the impression that he didn't know or didn't care that I was there since he didn't look my way. Not surprising since I was about 120 yards away just sitting on the side of the trail. I suddenly wanted to get the hell out of there, realizing that I was no longer the apex predator in those woods. The .22 semi-auto rifle I had would have done nothing more than piss off the creature and offer no more protection than a sharp, pointy stick. I ended my hunt right there and then and headed back to my car, looking over my shoulder the entire time, wondering if I was going to end up as a statistic in another missing 911 report. You also state numerous times to not let these things destroy our love for the woods and hunting, fishing, and hiking. It took me a while, but I did make it back to those same woods. I was fairly nervous, to be sure, but I wasn't going to let that being take away my happy place. My place where I find peace and solitude and get my center back. Taking your advice, I have a mantra I say now at the very beginning of my hunts that I am only there to harvest a few squirrels, enjoy the woods, that I'm not there looking for them. I ask that they don't scare me while I'm there. So far, that has been working. Does this bring credence to mind speak? I don't know. Was it the Sabe letting me know he was there, wanting me to see him? I don't know. But that is what I am leaning towards. The more I think about it, and the more I hear your readings on your channel. Was I marked/chosen? I would be a little arrogant if I said yes, but maybe. I don't know. Since my encounter, I've noticed a few tree breaks about 8 feet above the ground and pointing in the same direction along the trail or in a small cluster, with none of the other trees around them being affected. I've not taken any pictures of my findings, not sure what value they would have for you and your viewers. This email has become long enough. I have no reservations about using my name if you wish. Keep doing what you're doing. It helps more people than you would realize. Thank you for your platform. Best wishes to you, your partner, and your family. May you all achieve great success in all your endeavors. John Skoughton in Northwest Indiana. John, appreciate you, man. You're a brave man. You're a free man. You're a free, brave man. And also a member of the Club of No Return. I don't know what number you are, but it is frickin' up there. I don't know. I don't know anything about. Okay, all I know about the mind speak is what everybody shares here with us. That's all I know about it. Have I ever experienced it? No. I've never experienced a voice in my head other than my own kooky voice arguing with me nonstop. But no, I've never heard a voice in my head. I've felt pressure lots of times. I've felt not to go places at times, but it's never been a voice myself. So I don't know what the hell's up with that. I can't tell you whether or not it was the being that said that to you or somebody else. I don't know. And if it is somebody else, are they telling us to look because they know that our eye contact on them is possibly a defense? I don't know. Maybe, right? It might be. And getting back to that other email where the person said the thing stood up and backed up the ridge looking at him. Why do they act like that? What are they scared of? What are they watching to see if you're going to do to them? What skill is it we may have used to have that they're aware of, that they're nervous of, and they're seeing if you're going to unleash it on them as they back away out of eyesight or earshot, whatever, gunshot, whatever it is. Whatever it is, they're backing away from us, keeping an eye on us. What are they watching us for? What are they making sure we don't do? What is it? See what I mean? How many times you heard about these things looking at somebody in a tree stand or whatever and glaring at them and keeping their eyes on them as they walk out of sight? What are they watching you for? What are they waiting to see what you're going to do? Because it's not just armed human beings they react that way to. So that what makes my curiosity wonder, what the hell is it we can do and we don't know about? Possibly. It's just a thought. It's a maybe. Is there something that we are not in tune with that they think we still might be in tune with? Picking up what I'm putting down? It's a strong possibility, right? Right? Because there's probably some beings out there who want to control teaching us from a young age that don't want us to be in tune with these skills. Probably. There you go. That's my thoughts on that one. Thank you so much for that email, man. I'm so glad you're going out there. It's working for me. Excuse me, so far. This is titled 2 Michigan Encounters. Hi, Steve. Been watching for a couple of years now, listening and nodding my head most of the time, which is silly as I live alone. I'm a 68-year-old retired police officer, and I live in northern Michigan, close to the Ausable River. Ausable River, A-U-S-A-B-L-E River, about 30 miles north of Mio, M-I-O, down 2 dead-end dirt roads on 10 beautiful wooded acres. There are 2 people who live on my road, and I'm one of them. You can use my name. I don't give a good shit what anyone has to say about it or me. Right on, man. Another free brother. When I first moved into my place, the first night just after the sun dipped behind the trees, I was going inside with my dog, a 110-pound Belgian Malinois. John Wick, when I heard a deep, that's the name of your dog, John Wick. When I heard a deep, chest-rattling growl that ended in a whoop. I know, I said, oh shit, and steered my dog up the stairs and into the house. I love my dog, but he's like a teenager who thinks he's 6 feet tall and bulletproof. I had to go look for what made the sound. I knew what it was. I just wasn't in the mood. That was my third encounter. The first time I saw one of these creatures was autumn of '78. I was driving home 5-8 miles north of Saranac, Michigan. And again, it was out in the country on a dirt road, going up a fairly good incline in second gear when this thing ran out of the woods behind my Olds 442. I was at the time only going about 20-25 miles per hour, and this thing slapped at the trunk of my car. I shifted as fast as I could to third, stomped on the gas, and peppered that jerk with pea gravel, watching the rearview mirror to make sure it wasn't chasing me. But he was watching, and then he was just gone. Fast forward to 5 years ago, I went camping with a girlfriend in the Sleepy Hollow State Park, Still, Michigan. We were all set up and just sitting around the campfire, sipping wine and chatting, as only girls can do when something screamed close by. I say screamed because it's the only word that comes closest to describe it. But it was so very much more than a mere scream. Everything stopped. The night sound stopped. We stopped. And we held our breath, or the breath refused to enter or leave our lungs. It was a horrific sound and loud beyond measure. I felt it vibrate in my chest. My hand had dropped to my 9mm, and as I began to ease my sidearm out of the second scream hit. We found our voices simultaneously, and both asked the same question with the appropriate expletives. You know, what the F was that? We were both very hushed, and I know all the blood had drained from my face. I was very frightened. Steve and I don't scare very often, but that scared me. I had never heard anything like that, not from any animal, mammal, or night bird. It was just awful, and I'll never forget it. I've been comforted to hear others talking about the scream. By the way, it was also the last night I spent in the tent. LOL. So now, I already know there are Sasquatch around here. There are also black bear, coyotes, wolves, big cats, and various other critters. And for your viewers who may give folks who carry weapons the hairy eyeball, grow up. In the woods, you're on the menu for many animals, large and hungry, so the wise take precautions. This old lady won't go out in the evening without a sidearm or my shotgun. Thanks for all you do, Steve. We appreciate it tons. I'd love to join you for a fishing/photo adventure in your beautiful mountains one day before I get too old. Love to your family and the critters, especially the horses. Suzette Randall. Suzette, I didn't read your name. You didn't put your name. I thought you were a man at first. I apologize. You're a free sister, a brave woman, and I absolutely appreciate you sending that in. And I got a question for you and other law enforcement, present or past. And if you want to email me the answer to this question, I definitely won't. You're safe. I won't use your name. But my question to you would be, and I can't believe I haven't asked this before. Maybe I have. If or when you get calls from people, actually, I should just say when the department gets calls from people seeing these beings that you've seen, are law enforcement officers, especially like in the more popular states that have lots of sightings, like Texas, East Texas, Michigan, Ohio, Florida, if you law enforcement officers and yourself are listening, are you pre-instructed how to deal or who to report those to, or to just ignore them and try to convince the people they saw something else? I'm very curious, because there's got to be some law enforcement officers out there who are pre-instructed what to say or do when confronted with these calls, or what are you instructed to do from those guys when you see one yourself on patrol or at home or whatever. If there is an answer that directly is related to my question, please send it, all right? Please send it to me so I can share it with the people. I think that'd be a handy one to have. So there you go. Another member. And another, and another, and another. All right, believe it or not, sitting down with everybody and reading these emails has grounded me right out. And I as you control my emotions, I keep them. What should I say? I don't visibly show my emotions often when I'm pissed, but I was on fire when I first sat down here, and I'm good now. So this actually helps me a lot as well. not only gaining knowledge, but it levels me out, grounds me out. So, back to my day of solving hiccups. And then I'll be sharing more soon. And I possibly will not be in the country shortly. And I will be sharing from another country. And that'll be a surprise, possibly, coming up in a while. Anyway, I got to get going. Share my story at howtohunt.com. All right? Share my story at howtohunt.com and get that shit shared. Speak openly. Quit being afraid. Protect the children. And don't ignore the faces that are being thrown in our faces who are absolutely guilty of coming on to our kids. All right? I'll talk to you guys shortly.